Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of, we should probably make a name for these at this point because this is our second, this is our second edition of event recaps with Mark and Christian. I don't know, it's a working title, it's obviously not great, but we'll work on that. But in the meantime here, if you've seen on the channel, I'll put a link in the description or something like that, or maybe there'll be a playlist of events that Christian and I have been to this year in 2025 that we're doing kind of like trip recaps, kind of explaining to you guys what our experience has been like as media partners and just attendees of these different WordPress and cloud hosting and like tech, these types of events. Just for you guys that weren't able to make it, because we want to give you an idea of what it could be like if you attend a future one. And we got a lot of great feedback. Appreciate all you guys from our CloudFest recap last month, which seems like it was just, I don't know, a couple days ago. I mean, like it's just flying by now. Yeah, so, but in this video, we are recapping PressConf. PressConf is a brand new, well, kind of a new edition of an older event called Pressnomics. We are here in, as you can see in the backdrop, we got, I don't know what these little trees are. They kind of look like mini palm trees, but we are in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. We have been for the last few days, and it's been an absolute whirlwind. So thank you guys for watching, and I have Christian Taylor sitting here with me to recap all of this. And again, if you saw the last one, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to talk about our experience, our trip, the things that we, all the things that we got into outside of these events, because I do think it's important to mention that, because it's about the talks, it's about the connections, but when you're at something like this with like-minded people, there's just so much going on. And yeah, we're just going to recap it because we need a place to document it, because it was, like I said, an absolute whirlwind. So Christian, thank you for joining me. Thank you for sitting down. I don't know, where do we even start off, man? I know you were here before I was, so maybe we just kind of start there. What was your experience like getting here and everything like that?
Yeah, solid. I had a direct flight on Southwest, unfortunately. I did sort of have like the most first-class experience you could get on Southwest, as in there was no one in the middle seat. So I was just kind of praying the whole time during boarding that no one would sit there, because it's open seating. Yeah. It's the Wild West. Yeah. So just hoping that I picked a good window seat, and turns out it worked out. No one in the middle seat, smooth flight, direct flight. That was nice. I got here, I was immediately bombarded with Waymo ads. I saw you mention the same thing.
Immediately, as soon as you open Facebook.
That's something that I've been wanting to try for years. So I've spent time in San Francisco and Austin where Waymo was offered, but it was always invite only. You had to join the wait list. And by the time I was off the wait list, I was already back home.
Yeah.
So I was super excited to try that out. Didn't try it from the airport. Reason being is I wanted to fully document that experience and be in the right headspace to film it and not be like rushing. So I didn't want to like rush away from the airport. It's hectic. You got your luggage, you're trying to get out of there. So I took an Uber to my hotel, stayed in a different hotel the first night, just somewhere cheap that I booked with credit card points, and went from the hotel to In-N-Out for dinner in the Waymo.
In the Waymo.
That was an experience. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, that's you're getting the whole vibe there right off the rip with that. And again, like, this is why I think it's so important to talk about these types of things, because a lot of depending on where these events are held, again, like we're in Tempe, Arizona, like you literally get to experience things that you wouldn't, right? So you're from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Like I don't have In-N-Out. I know In-N-Out's coming to Nashville, but we don't have In-N-Out. We don't have, as silly as it is, just a burger and fries, like something like that. You don't, when you go to events like this, not just the talks and everything, but you get to experience the actual destination regardless of where it's at. So that's definitely dope. The Waymo thing is really interesting as well, because I feel like most people at this event, maybe a little bit more than others, everybody's, enthralled by maybe a self-driving car to some extent, but especially with our group, technology adjacent people, there's like a lot of other conversations. I remember I filmed that whole journey that I took in it, and just like thinking about how they created the UI, how they created all the technology around it, all the cameras like spinning constantly on that thing. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, one of the things I was curious about is how would it track whether you have cargo in the back or not? because the first time I took it, it was just me. I sat in the back seat. That's before I realized it was acceptable to sit in the front. I don't know why it wouldn't be. There's no driver, but I just instinctively got in the back because that's what you do in an Uber. But the second time was when I switched hotels from my first hotel to here where we are now. So I had to bring my luggage. And I thought, wait a minute, how is it going to know that I have luggage in the back? Because the first time, as soon as I shut the door and started to walk away, the car was gone. So I'm like, is it going to abduct my luggage and drive away? But it actually tracked that I put luggage in the back. And when it stopped at this hotel, it gave an audible reminder, don't forget your cargo in the back. That is wild. I mean, I'm sure it's just cameras or it's got a memory of, okay, the back hatch opened before the ride started. Like, it's not that complicated, but just the little details that someone had to think of to make it a smooth experience. It's incredible.
100%. Yeah. That's, we'll see how it continues to evolve, Waymo and other, potential robo-taxi services, because I do think that's a big thing that's going to be in the future. It's too convenient. There's too many cool pieces to it. If there was a bunch of robot cars on the road, I feel like in a lot of ways it'd probably be more efficient because they could all just interconnect with one another.
Yeah, and also it was one of the smoothest rides I have ever taken.
Yeah.
Like, it's not speeding or whipping you around like crazy. I mean, okay, sometimes
we did have a little incident.
there are moments here or there that it's a little bit crazy, but not for the most part. And I would say like at least half of the Uber drivers that I get are wild.
Yeah,
you're kind of like holding on for dear life.
Yeah, we had a couple interesting experiences there, and then the Uber drivers specifically. Yeah, obviously it's a human driver, and depending on what level of road rage they like to implement, it's interesting. One other thing too on this topic is that we kind of started in Portland at WordCamp US that I didn't remember right away, but then I started asking our drivers is we need a do you know what WordPress is report for like the poll. So like anytime we were in like an Uber, which I wasn't in too many actually this time, I feel like, but anytime we were in an Uber, we were asking people like, do you know what WordPress is? Just as an example. And the one gentleman said that he does know, said it was a content management system.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, he was he said that he was like a software developer. So I don't know if, I don't know if he said he was looking for a job or whatever, but that was really interesting because a lot of times you just get a no. Like, I have no idea what that is. And I think a couple other people did say that, but that's another thing that I think is really interesting to get when you go to somewhere with, you got a bunch of WordPress people around, but everyone else is just, random person that lives or is visiting here for vacation or whatever. And I think that that's another, to get outside the bubble a little bit and actually ask random lay people what this is or what that is. I think that's a huge thing. So just another interesting thing. And I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to catch this on the actual end of the recording, but I'm gonna mention it now anyway because it's another big thing. We are directly in line with the airport, and these planes have been flying over this beautiful courtyard area all week. And it's just like if you live near an airport, you know what I'm talking about. Like the plane is, again, it looks like it's right above you, which is really interesting. But it gets a little loud in times in the courtyard, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it on the recording. But another, it's honestly a cool thing though, because if you're not used to that, it is fun to see the planes go by. So.
I love it. Plane spotter's dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to hear about your experience getting here because I heard some rumors that the shuttle driver was a bit unhinged.
Yeah, it was. They like to step on it here. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like as soon as you. It was some Uber drivers. It was the shuttle. I mean, it's a safe ride, but it's just like. It's almost like they get out of the airport, they turn a corner, and they see an open road, and they just floor it. And you can like kind of feel it, even like in a big van. So it wasn't bad. It was a nice little ride, but it was just kind of funny that was the vibe that I was noticing. Overall trip here was good. I was on American Airlines. I upgraded myself to first class cabin because I can't not anymore. It's just if I see it available and it's. I don't know if reasonably priced is the right word. I don't think so.
I don't know about the way here. The way back you did well.
Yeah. So I was leaving at like 7:30 a.m. So I got to the airport. I was from curb to gate in 15 minutes. was great. And then flight was pretty chill. First class, if you guys remember my recap of the business class going over to CloudFest, it was definitely not that, but the seats were comfortable. There was wider seats, and I did get they gave you a meal, and it was biscuits and gravy and some eggs, which wasn't fantastic, but it was okay. And yeah, I mean, I can't say too much more about the flight. It was pretty standard. I do like the idea of, and it's a lot different because we were, flying, I don't know, 8-9 hours over to Germany, and then just to come back and just do like 4 to 5 hours is a lot nicer in some ways. But yeah, so that was good. Then as soon as I got off, the hardest part of that journey actually is getting out in the airport here and then trying to flag down the shuttle for the Tempe Mission Palms, because you have to call them and then you have to get them to actually, like, they'll come pick you up, obviously, like, and it's like you don't know where to go because it's a foreign airport, and then they're like, say, go to this courtesy area, and there's so many vans kind of coming through there.
Yeah.
So there's like just a lot of things there. But once we got here, it's a beautiful hotel, beautiful area. We're right on ASU's campus, so there's so many different things to do, so many different places to eat and drink or whatever, and it's just a pretty great venue overall, I would say. All right, so again, if you watched the last episode, you know that the problem with filming outside, which is not something we typically do, is that the sun in the sky moves. And occasionally you have to change where you're filming. So this is now, we're 2 for 2 on episodes with camera angle changes, which is kind of fun. But yeah, so we're in a slightly different location, nice ambiance, hopefully completely out of the sun for the remainder of this episode, but you'll know before we do. So anyway, back to it. We got here, everything's like that, everything's great, beautiful. I don't think we've said this yet. We are at the Tempe Mission Palms.
Yes.
It's a beautiful
resort.
Yes, resort. It's pretty nice. We're in the courtyard. There is a lot of great amenities here. I believe, I'm not going to go on record in saying that future PressConfs will be here, but I know a lot of previous Pressnomics were here, and this has been a pretty good venue all around, and by my estimation. Anything to hit on with just the venue in general before we dive into some of the event stuff?
Yeah, I really like the way the courtyard is set up. It's kind of interesting. I think there are going to be 2 or 3 events going on at once. One thing, though, I absolutely have to touch on is the SnackShack.
Oh, yes.
People raved about the SnackShack for Pressnomics. I was curious going in, like, what could it possibly be? They had a snack in there that blew my mind. Strawberry infused raisins.
Wild.
What is that?
Absolutely wild.
Now, regrettably, I didn't try it because I'm kind of a health freak. I turn around the package, look at the ingredients labels. It's like raisins, natural flavors.
Bunch of seed oils.
Nope. I don't want any of that. So I didn't try it. But first of all, where do you find something like that? Second of all, who was like, that's a great idea to stock in the SnackShack? Like, it's just so random. But the SnackShack was... The SnackShack...
It's a tongue twister.
...was lit. Yeah. Warm cookies during the afternoon. They had spring rolls, pot stickers.
Yeah, you're making me hungry. Yeah, I was on a Whole Foods diet before I came here, and I think I've gained 10 pounds since being here. So
they had hot pretzel bites.
Just...
mini corn dogs.
It's taking me back. It's literally right over... It's like right over there, but we could see it, but we can't go in it.
Yeah, because PressConf is over.
Yeah.
So SnackShack.
So unfortunate, but yeah, very good. Again, as far as like the venue layout and everything, I do think that's important for some of the things that we'll touch on, just like some of the stories and stuff like that. There's a big courtyard area. There's a kind of like 2 places. They do a really good job. There's inside is the actual seating hall and everything like that, and then out in the courtyard, there was a bunch of tables that you could always like talk at, and there was 2 parties, like a welcome party on Wednesday night and then a send-off party on Friday night. The Wednesday one was kind of our first thing that we got to after we got here. I went to White Castle with some of the grade team, and
that's unfortunate.
It was an experience. So some pictures and stuff like that. I think I shared on social. We've seen a future live stream and everything. Did that, and then Wednesday was the first night we kind of saw everybody, and it was like literally you can't see it, but we're staring right at the area that it was happening in, and it was just a big, basically, like a mixer, like a mingle session, and with everybody that was here for the conference. Did you have any big takeaways, Christian?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that first night because that's when I truly realized the quality of the attendees.
Yeah.
Now, this is not anything, I'm not bashing WordCamps here, but WordCamp nightlife and even like the official social, it feels like a party.
Yeah.
You're sort of bouncing around from group to group. The interactions are short. I had some of the longest conversations at this event. I met a guy named Alex, super cool dude, takes photos in a T-Rex suit.
Yeah.
Even made a calendar and gave it to me. Alex is amazing. But I think we must have talked for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours that night.
Wow.
And I had multiple conversations like that during this event where at WordCamps, the vibe is like, it's just small talk. You talk for a bit, 10, 15 minutes max, you're on to the next group. So I don't know if you felt the same thing, but that stood out to me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so the thing about that is, I feel like we've never been to a Pressnomics, so we're thinking about this and how PressConf is going to be like build, right? Like what is going to be here. And it's very difficult. It's almost difficult to even recount, because the same things that it was one of those things where you think that something is going to happen and then it's exactly how you thought it was going to be. I went in here, I did like the pre-interview with Matt Medeiros and stuff like that on the PressConf channel, and I was just what are you most excited for? I'm like, I'm excited for the quality of attendees, the people that want to like make their businesses better, whether it's product, agency, or what have you, and the people that make the investment to come to this event are going to actually want to sit down and have good conversations with you, potentially collab with you in various different ways, and just going to be generally like good people that want to hang out with other like-minded people. And again, we're in positions where we kind of know a good bit of people, but again, like you said, there's people here that we didn't know. They don't have YouTube channels. Maybe they have successful agencies. Maybe they have successful plugins, or they're just starting or whatever. Everyone was fun. Like it was just like you go to that party, and no matter what group you jumped into, there's an option to be, have a good conversation about whatever it is, business, technology, kind of in this realm of WordPress, this ecosystem of everything. So I think that was the biggest thing for me is I kind of had this assumption of what it was going to be, and even from the first, we haven't gotten to the talks yet at this point, and it's already, you just kind of feel it. So, yeah, I mean, it was a great first night. I think I had a bunch of conversations with different people, and the other cool thing about this, again, I want to kind of like shout out the venue layout, is there's this area over here, which I know I'm doing a terrible visualization for you here, but there's the courtyard. You're only in like half of the courtyard based off of how intimate the event is in that case, and maybe it'll be different in future years. But the point is that you could go somewhere else. There's so many places on the property that it's not like you're in some sort of remote situation. It's real cramped. Like you could go somewhere else if you need to have like a quick meeting with somebody, or just like a breakout session or something like that with a group of people. There's like a bar over there on the other side. There's so much seating. There's so many different things. Yeah, just a really cool vibe to really start everything off with there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and then I think, did we do anything after the first night, or were we just here? I can't remember.
I didn't. I was just here, went back to my room when the party was over.
Because the other thing that we should probably like touch on is the way that a lot of it normally happens is like you have generally, depending on like what you're trying to like achieve or who you're trying to hang out with, you'll have like those more, I don't know what to call them, like organized events, and
like
then
official events.
Exactly, like official events, and then afterwards, because I feel like at least in this iteration, a lot of them, I feel like they were cleaning the stuff up by like 8 or 9. I don't know if that's a event thing or like a venue thing, but obviously the people got to clean up, and the turnover's been crazy. There's been so much stuff going on here.
Yeah.
So I'm empathetic to that. But if you wanted to go out, again, if it's in this location or a similar location, because I guarantee you it'll be the same vibe, you could just walk to somewhere else, or you could go to like a different part of this resort area hotel, and you could go do something else, hang out with more people, have more conversations, grab another bite to eat or something. So yeah, I think there was just a lot of opportunity to do that. It wasn't Like, and again, the people that were here, they want to have those conversations.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are, you're at a conference, like they're okay with staying up and having those types of things. And it's not always all the time that you get to talk business at 11 p.m. in some random bar or place or something like that.
It's amazing.
We have an intruder, a guest.
Oh, there he is.
We have a peeping Tom, as they say, off camera.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Join the show.
There's a show?
Yes.
There's a little bit of a show.
We're doing a full podcast recap of PressConf.
Oh, wow.
Get in here.
You're trying to put that into one episode?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's brave.
Are you in?
Yeah.
Am I in?
Stick your head in.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
that. Look who it is.
a little
Remkiss de Vries. Maybe share the mic. I don't know. A little bit here. We'll do a little impromptu here. So Remkiss, I don't know if you caught our last one when we went to
No, we didn't.
when we went to CloudFest. Thanks for watching our stuff, by the way.
No, I did. No, CloudFest one I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So CloudFest, we sat down just like this. We were in Europa Park and we had a conversation. Remkiss was also at CloudFest out in Germany, and we kind of just recap the whole thing. Like we recap the whole trip because there's a lot of people that maybe they couldn't attend this one or they want to come to the next one. There's a lot of really interesting things that transpire. So at a high level, most valuable for you, give a little recap of what your experience has been like the past few days.
I think I can sum it up in one word: connections.
Connections.
Yeah. And they happen on many different levels, from the personal, from the business, from the prospect, from the, just all the levels and types of connections, and specifically how deep they are here. There's room for this. There's room to be personal. There's room to be vulnerable. And there's room for business learnings, all in that same mix. And I think that's a wonderful mix.
Yeah, 100%. You gave a talk.
I did.
Very inspirational, very thought-provoking. I got a lot of things out of that.
Well, thank you.
Specifically, there's a lot of things to glean from it, and I want you to kind of, give the high level, but specifically the one thing that I literally wrote down, you said a version of this, I'm not sure exactly, I'm going to paraphrase, but like this, something to the effect of like this, meaning, life or work or whatever, there is supposed to be struggle. Like that's just kind of a thing that's in it. So I wrote down, and I almost want to put this on my wall, like this is not supposed to be easy.
Correct.
Nothing we do here is supposed to be easy, not just here, but in general.
Yeah.
So the way I interpret it is that in times when you are feeling like nothing's going your way or feeling like, why is this so difficult? Why am I not X, Y, Z, whatever? You have to remember that a lot of the things that are worth doing are not going to be easy.
It's even an exaggerated version of that. If there is no struggle, we don't value it. There's nothing to value without struggle. Yeah. And this is not some hyperbole. There's tons of studies that has proven this. The easier we make it for anybody to have something, get something, do something, the less it is actually valued. And you can see this. The best example we know is rich kids.
Yeah.
Right. So if money is easy, you don't ever have to plow through to get where you want to go. If you haven't ever set a goal, you can never achieve a goal, right? So you just kind of coast. Mm-hmm. And as comfortable as that may seem, because you can drive around in your fancy cars and fancy trips and all that sort of stuff, it is not valued and perceived as valuable as it is when you're struggling through to get it. And I don't mean like struggle, back against the wall, this is the only thing I can do. There needs to be some resistance. Then you need to kind of push through. And when times are difficult, it's good to recognize that this is part of it. There's no escaping the need for struggle. So you might as well embrace it.
Yeah, 100%. I think, anything, Christian? I got at least one more question for Remkiss.
Yeah, I got to interview this guy yesterday, so go for it.
I don't want to. Yeah, okay. We don't want to spoil yours then. There's a hard to articulate this, but you've been around WordPress for a while. When you're at this type of an event, there's obviously the talks. There's obviously the business connections and those types of things.
Yep.
But even from last night, again, we told the viewers kind of like how the area is set up. There's like a little bar area over there.
Yeah.
We're all sitting around a table, chopping it up. Maybe there's some random WordPress business stuff like thrown in there because we're all like-minded and we have that. But it's really just friends ultimately kind of like sitting around.
Yeah.
having conversation. I want to try to get anybody that like watches WordPress content or is in the scene, but it hasn't really built those types of connections, hasn't been to events like this. I want to try to articulate to them, and I guarantee you, you're the best person to do this. What does that actually feel like? What does that actually mean? And how has the last 20 years of you building those relationships and then being able to sit at a table like that and just literally just crack jokes and everything, what does that actually do for you? I feel like it transcends the business. Like
it does.
entirely.
It does. You go for the business because it is the thing that helps you provide for yourself and your family and all that. But it most assuredly transcends that whole that layer. On my WordPress profile page, so profiles.wordpress.org/DEVFRIES. There's an F there for some reason. I have a quote there that says, "I came for the software, I left with a family." And that is literally what it is. And we don't have to embellish the whole family thing too much. It's more like friends, family. But there's a layer on top, and the WordPress community at its core is quite special in that those types of connections just naturally happen.
Yeah.
And it's just because we happen to love the same software. It's wild if you think about it.
Yeah.
And yet it's there.
Yeah.
So that was that. When we sat there last night, cracking jokes, talking about weird things that happened.
It's a wild place.
I don't know why he's looking at me.
I do know, but I'm gonna keep it PG-13 here. No, but it's this vibe, right? We can talk about it. It's fun. There's an age gap, for instance. I'm more than twice as old as you are. I'm more than 20 years older than you are, and yet there's no real difference. Yeah. We approach each other on the same level, and that's kind of brilliant and unique. And I've been in other communities as well, open source software. There's no this type of adhesion is never ever anywhere else.
I got one more follow up to that, because it's just an actionable piece, or like another way to interpret that. So all of that is the kind of description, so to speak, of like what that all is, or like what actually ends up happening and going. However, if somebody is watching and they're, let's say, on the sidelines, so to speak, of these events, and they're not in the family, so to speak, like they don't feel like they're fully in there, where I was literally 2 years ago, what is your advice to them?
Just show up. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
We can have a whole bunch of strategies and like do this and make sure that and all that, but just show up. You don't have to be an extrovert. I'm not. You can be a perfectly 100% introvert and find difficult to talk to people, but you will be among peers who understand that and who will open up for you. And the only thing you have to do is show up, because interaction is inevitable. And you may think, ooh, interaction, but it's the right kind. It's the friendly kind. It's the encompassing. It's the inclusive kind. It's just, you can be who you are. You don't have to pretend to, get a lot of energy from the things. You can just be on the sidelines and enjoy. But if you're never going to get more value out of this unless you show up. So it just starts there.
Yeah. If you want it, just show up. You heard it.
That's it.
Which is what I did here.
That's it. You heading out, or
later at the end of the day? Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for peeping around the corner there. We appreciate it. Thank you, Remkes.
All right.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Yep. Wise words.
It was amazing.
Remkes de Vries.
Amazing.
Surprise guest.
Yeah.
That was not planned.
No.
But always welcomed. Because again, I think that's really kind of what it is. I feel like even in a short time for us specifically, like the two of us, like we've been able to, I think about it like that, almost like build rapport with people that or just in the community. And again, it's not even like like Remkus was saying, it's not even like a crazy, you know, I don't know. It's not even there. You don't need a lot of strategy. You just need to want it. You just need to show up. And then again, you just have those conversations with people, and good things will happen from there.
Yeah, and it builds so quickly. Every event I go to, I meet more amazing people, and it's that compounding effect. The next event, you know, even more people, and I mean, yeah, I think my first WordCamp was 2022, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was my first WordPress event, and just going to a few every year.
Yeah.
First, I was the awkward dude standing in the corner, didn't know anyone, and now I feel like I know not everyone, but a lot of people.
That's how it is. It's exponential almost, because then you just meet somebody and then another thing. So yeah, I love that. I've really appreciated the people that I've met here in the community, and almost again like the family friends type vibe that it's created. So I didn't have that before. I didn't have like that community thing, and now we definitely have a good bit of that. So it's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, getting back to kind of the overall, I mean, we had the welcome party, which, you know, kind of led to all that we were kind of speaking about. First day one, like official day one, I guess. We wake up, check in for our badges and everything like that, and then talks. Now, we're probably not going to have enough time to go over every single talk, and I can't remember exactly what order they were all in. But at a high level, to dive into it, what was your vibe overall? 2 days of programming, about 11 or 12 talks. Most of the talks were, I believe, around 45 minutes to an hour. There was a couple that were shorter, and obviously it varied depending on how long their actual notes and everything were. Give the people your perspective, Christian, talks maybe versus a WordCamp, or just in general, like what was your vibe on the actual programming?
Yeah, it's hard to convey because the talks were so rich that I know everyone got something different out of it depending on where they are in their business and what their current challenges are. It's almost like you sort of like hear the problem that you're trying to solve. So what I got out of the talks is probably different from what you got out of it, from what Rumkiss got out of it. But I would just say the talks are so much richer than what you might see at a WordCamp or the average tech conference. And a lot of that is because the talks are not allowed to be recorded. So the speakers feel free to say what they need to say. They're not worried about ruffling any feathers because everyone here understands that we're here to do business. We're going to talk about the hard things. We're going to try to solve challenges that the industry is facing. But as soon as you put a camera in front of someone, they worry, what is this going to do with a broader reach? You know, I wouldn't even say that anyone said anything controversial really, but people just get concerned about that. Like they don't want to say anything that may potentially upset someone when they're being recorded. So the general theme I saw, and again, I'm prefacing this with someone who was here at PressConf may watch this and be like, what is he talking about? That's like, I got something completely different out of it. But for me, it seemed like day one of the talks was more focused on WordPress itself and the current industry challenges and this broader conversation of how do we move the needle forward. It's almost like this split happening where Automatic is taking things more commercial, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but how do we navigate the split, you could say, of Automatic going more commercial, WordPress needing the community to really step up and keep carrying .org. And then day two, for me, felt more like general business advice, but I would say that I got more out of day two because there was a lot of inspirational talks that the theme for me was time management. Rich's talk on AI and just seeing how fast companies are shipping stuff with AI definitely was inspiring for me.
Yeah, you bring up that's a good overview, because the first day was like heavily, I would almost say like WordPress, not tech, but again, like you said, like kind of where it's going and everything. And through that lens, it's almost like the first day was things that we can't fully control. Like, Mary and Matthias talking about like what Automatic is doing and, like kind of who they're, maybe not necessarily like who they're valuing, but like what the path is to some extent, especially given all the events in the last like 8 months or whatever. That was really interesting to hear. I was happy to hear them be here. A note of that is most sessions had Q&A. They did not have Q&A. Not really a big deal. It's just kind of like just in the way the event was structured. So we didn't get to ask like really. I think there would have been some really interesting questions in that talk there. But I think that was a really big piece of it. With just kind of, I appreciated them being there, and it was enlightening. Kareem gave a really good talk. Kareem Maruki about kind of like almost like I guess a federated repository. So another way to kind of bridge this gap of making sure that WordPress is even, I would say almost like even more accessible in a way, like with like to people that, have different like supply chain, like this whole supply chain type of issue that we've seen here, and just all the other events that have happened. But day 2 was much more personal almost. It was Miriam, fantastic talk from Miriam Schwab about her, just like tearing at the heartstrings and of like what everything she has had to go through. It was just very personal, like doing all the things that she's doing while also, dealing with war, like actual war. Like, you can't even, it's hard to, it's very moving for me personally. I couldn't even really, it's hard to even empathize with, because it's a topic that, most people don't have to go through. And then as we just talked to Remkes, great chat about, and great talk about the struggle and making sure that you're always trying to, I think it's through struggle, I'm going to get it wrong, but like through hardships, you get to like the stars and the things that you want to do. So, overall, I think the talks were, as they were billed, a couple, maybe we talk about a couple like little ancillary, like things like that. So the room has, it was like a big, just like tables and chairs, obviously, like you would think of as far as like rows in a conference hall. What do you think about the actual attendance of the talks? Because an important note here is, if you're not familiar, there's not really a hallway track there ended up kind of being slightly a hallway track, but that's not really what PressConf is supposed to be about. There's not a ton of talks. You're supposed to be in there because they're good talks. What did you feel was like the attendance wise, as far as like when you're in the room looking at a talk and you're looking around, how did that feel for you? What did you, and what did you kind of think in retrospect of the PressConf programming with attendance and such?
Yeah, I think I sat in on all but one talk. So I really tried to respect the idea of attending every talk, not doing the hallway track while speaking was happening. I would say attendance was anywhere between 50 and 80%. Most of the time, it seemed like there was about 70% of the conference in the room. There were some talks where it was a little lower, and that was a little bit disappointing from my end because, well, one, I'm a rule follower, but two, I really like the concept of not having a hallway track. So one of the things that we passed on to Raquel, and it seemed like a common theme feedback-wise, was maybe doing less talks next year, give people more space to do the hallway track so that you can really sell that idea even more of like, hey, you have time to chat in the hallway, don't worry. But when there's talks happening, please, we really want everyone to be in the room. And I know for me, that was a good thing because I almost always do the hallway track at events. Like I never sit in on talks at WordCamps or CloudFest unless it's something that really catches my attention. But I have not walked away from an event feeling this inspired and empowered since like a content creator event I went to. And that was also kind of the same vibe, is like you're there to learn from the creators, less than like just chatting it up in the hallways. So I found the talks very impactful. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think I was the same. Maybe just one that I wasn't at. And I was on stage for one of them too, so I guess that counts as well. And that was a good recap of everything. I think that, you know, we were talking, like you said, we talked to Raquel. The issue is, like, if you've been to these types of events, you might want to talk to certain people. And there's this concept of putting your meeting link out there and getting some things so you can actually meet in person and have those conversations. And I didn't actually do that this time that much.
I didn't either.
And I was, because I figured it was going to be like we were going to be in the talks, and then you could just assess otherwise and schedule like kind of on the fly. That worked pretty well. I do think, like you said, to echo it, the one bit of feedback there is maybe like talks in the morning, and then a dedicated block in the afternoon where it's like, hey, if you're going to schedule meetings, schedule them in the afternoon when nothing is going on, but you could utilize all the areas and all the spaces and everything. But here's like either, do your meetings, or maybe like even like we were talking a little bit about breakout sessions and things like that, where you're just like in groups talking about that. Naturally happens, honestly, at an event of this scale. It was happening. There's a bunch of tables and people were talking about that stuff. So that'll naturally happen. But specifically the events, the problem is at night when everything wrapped up, I did feel like, and my wife even mentioned this to me, shout out to her. She was like, I feel like you were barely even gone. Now, obviously CloudFest, we were gone for, more days. But in this instance right here, like from our perspective, not only was it shorter, but I just feel like everything was always moving. Like we woke up and it was at 8 or 9 a.m. There was talks. There wasn't really like MCs, Brian Richards and Adam Weeks did a fantastic job moving everything, keeping everything in line. And I just felt like everything was so fast. Like we had the talks, and then as soon as the talks were over around like 5, there would either be a couple days there was the meeting out here, or the party in the courtyard or party at the pool, and then there was a like a speaker dinner, speaker, media, and sponsor dinner one day. There was just a lot of stuff to do, and it all happened really fast. And my point in saying all of this is that if you were trying to fit meetings in, I don't even know when I would have put on my calendar.
There's really no time.
Yeah, you would have had to skip talks, or you would have had to like do something weird in between, like that dinner time area or way late at night. And I just think most people aren't setting up meetings, during those times. So I think that there's a really good hybrid approach that not just PressConf, but other events could potentially adopt, because you want people, you're like either paying speakers to be there, or you are like just getting them there in general. You want to have as many people in the room as possible, right? So I think that's one big thing.
Yeah, they did schedule 2 hours every day for lunch. And I did appreciate that they didn't cater lunch. I actually like that. I know some people would be like, oh, but I'm already paying for the ticket and I got to buy lunch. But I thought it was nice. I mean, conference food often isn't always the best. There's great food here in Tempe, and there's amazing restaurants within, a 5-minute walk? So it was kind of nice. You could grab people that you wanted to talk to, go get lunch. You had 2 hours to do whatever you needed to do. You could choose to take a 1-hour lunch break and 1 hour for meetings. So I think that was the intent, that maybe you could do some of your meetings around lunchtime, but I still think there's room for more flex networking time next year.
Definitely. And on the topic of the talks, for me personally, I feel like the optimal time for a talk in this type of setting is probably 25 to 35 minutes. I think that any longer than that, it could be a really good talk. And again, there were like every talk was good, but like the ones that are like more of an hour, it just gets to feel like almost like I just thought of this now. It's almost like a class in school.
Yeah.
Like it's like
I totally feel that.
especially now, like you only have so much of a, mental, like focus time that you could really like dive into something and like actually sit there and do that. And again, chairs are comfy, like whatever, but it just, I don't know, sitting for an hour listening to something, I feel like a half an hour is probably like really the sweet spot there. And so I think that could help. Also, that would give you potentially like more talks, or like the same amount of talks, while still being able to do the hybrid approach.
Yeah.
So I think that could be like a really like winning thing. All this said though, we're kind of being nitpicky. I mean, overall, this has been fantastic. And I think it's just it's in the spirit of always being able to have some level of improvement with anything you ever do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think from a talk perspective, anything else on talks in general?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know, I did enjoy them, and I think everybody got value out of them. A couple tweaks, and I think it's even next level in that regard. Sponsors, obviously, there was also a sponsor hall. I actually didn't realize there was going to be a sponsor like hall, kind of like the hallway there. There was, I want to not name all of them. I'm not going to name any of them because I can't remember them all. I can't remember them all, so I'm not going to forget any. But there was a sponsor hall with like swag and all that sort of stuff that you would expect to see. So there was that. And then already covered the Snack Shack, but it's worth another mention because it's fantastic and it was literally right outside. The cadence was talk, 10, 15-minute break, so everybody would get out of the conference area, pretty much walk right to the left into the Snack Shack, like restrooms and everything, like all in the same space, bunch of tables, so then you could like go in and out on. Yeah. Venue-wise, again, just can't say enough about the setup there. It was very, very conducive to efficiency and everything. We could talk a little bit maybe about the second day. At night, there was speaker dinner and sponsor dinner, media dinner, everything like that. That was at Postino Annex, restaurant in Tempe. Again, foodie town. There was a lot of I don't know, it's kind of like a bruschetta place and like meat and stuff. I found the meat, thank God, because I saw a bunch of sandwiches and I was like, I am going to die this week if I don't eat some more meat. So I found some chicken skewers and steak skewers and ate way too much of those, but I was trying to backload some protein.
They were in the weirdest place.
Yeah.
I was sure when we got there that they said that was the vegan corner.
Yes. Yeah.
They
were right next to the gluten. There was gluten-free sandwiches, and then right next to it there was meatballs and steak and chicken. Which, I mean, I guess, those are gluten-free, I guess, to a degree. But yeah, I was like, where? Yeah, I was just very confused because there was none on the other side where we were sitting. But beautiful little venue there. We were outside on the patio. Again, great conversations with good people. You see a lot of the pictures and everything like that. But I want to touch on something again, specific, very specific here to, again, when Remkes was with us and talking about these types of things. Here's the other part of this. If you want to, and maybe this isn't your goal, but if it is, if you want to build rapport and you want to get actual like access to people and obviously do it in a genuine way. But I'm saying if you want to have good conversations, real genuine conversations with people that have influence or like power to some degree, you can do that at these types of events because those people are here. My point is that if you're confused about something or if you like want to know the reasoning for different things, I'll give you a concrete example. We were sitting at a table there was like there was an automatician table as well, like Brian Cords, Nick Diego, Matias Ventura, Rich Tabor. Like we're interacting and mingling with these people. And, like the specific example is like we at this table had like a 30 minute to an hour long chat with Rich Tabor about Automatic, about just like the project and just different things like that. And it's reminiscent to, we didn't do one because we weren't at this level yet of podcasting and doing these things. But when we were in Portland for WordCamp US, those things can happen there too. It's just a different vibe, a different setting. But like when we were there, we had that same type of conversation. We had a creator dinner and those types of folks were there. And it's one of those situations where if you want to ask people questions and build relationships with people that are in positions of again, influence or that they're just doing cool things, this is another opportunity to do that you would not get elsewhere. I mean, again, maybe you could DM these people and stuff like that, but the point is like, you're not going to build that connection unless it's in person. And that's something that I'm like really starting to understand personally. So again, just shout out to Rich, but everyone else that has those really good conversations and is open to having those types of things, because most people are. But again, you just have to put yourself in the places to do that, just be around effectively. Show up, as Remkes says.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anything specific from the dinner or anything like that you want to mention? I think it was...
Yeah, I mean, great food. Yeah. They brought out a dessert round. I was unclear on whether that was going to happen or not. It made me very excited because I'm a chocoholic. Yeah. But after the buffet had been out for a while and we were already stuffed.
Yes.
Then they brought out cookies, brownies, these like donut hole things, but The dough is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was seriously good food.
Yeah, I had too many skewers, like 6 meat skewers. But yeah, great evening. So then that was on Thursday night. So that was after the first round of talks and everything. Second round of talks was on Friday. Again, we mentioned that already. Very personal. A lot of really good stories. A lot of good stuff to chew on. We had the podcast recap with myself, Matt Medeiros, Brian Cords, Amber Hines, and Brian Richards as the moderator. Thought it went decent. All right, I'm not really sure what this is going to look like after I edit this. The camera just stopped. Like, it just went black.
Just unalived
we
itself.
both have this thing, and we've never seen that happen. So no idea what happened there. But whatever hopefully I can edit it so it's not incredibly jarring. But just so you know, anyway, I think we're in the middle of kind of the second day there and everything like that. Again, we talked about the programming. Everything was fantastic. Really inspiring. I think we've pretty much covered most of the event piece, like the main event parts there. The other big parts, again, I know we've talked about it ad nauseum a little bit with like how beautiful Tempe is and the venue and everything. But again, I do want to hit on it, and I do want to touch about some of the other fun things that we've done, kind of the nightlife idea, which is, neither of us really drink alcohol, but it's fun to go and see other people, indulge and and just more so instigate from me. I like to instigate. But yeah, so a couple of the nights, the cool part about this is, again, if you're into this, it's really awesome because you kind of go from different place to place because there's a lot going on. It's not like you're siloed in anything. So I think it was, like Friday night, we hung out with, and you can always hang out with different people too. Like, that's the other thing. Like, you can go different nights with different people, and it's awesome. So we were, we went to, I think we were hanging out with a big group. And again, I posted about it. I think it was like Mark Westgard and Kevin Geary and all sorts of people. And we were, where did we bounce around to?
We went to the rooftop bar at the Westin.
Which is a fantastic, beautiful hotel. I mean, this place is nice, but the Westin is like, you could see it across the street, and it's like, it's a hotel. This is like a resort vibe, and it's real fun. The Westin is, I've never been inside one. So, I mean, it was pretty sick.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost like marble glass kind of on the bottom floor. How many floors are there? Like 18 floors, so it's really high, and then there's like a rooftop up there.
The Sky Sill Grill.
The Sky Sill Grill.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Yeah,
there's good views. The music was not it.
Yeah.
In fact, honestly, we left that bar after a while because the music was just so lame.
Real quick, Miss, there was a guy, like an employee, and I think he went in there.
He's right there. He's literally right there.
There you go. Yep.
What can I do with that?
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
No problem. Yeah. Maybe we should just leave that in. We might just leave that in.
I think we should. Yeah, it's all. This has been the most ADHD recording session.
It's live, It's we're in a courtyard. There's a lady over there. She forgot her phone, and then in between, somebody picked it up. Anyway, back to it. The Westin, 18 floors, up on the top, beautiful views. I also forgot to say, because this is kind of in line, there's not just, we're in the desert, and I've never been to the desert. There is like random, almost like rock formation mountains around. There's one basically right across the street here.
You climbed it?
Yeah, I climbed that with Matt Medeiros, Amber Hines, Brad Williams. And it's just like, it's crazy. Like, you're just like climbing up a mountain. There's some asphalt to go up, but there's also like steps and like broken rocks, and you just got to get to the top. But my point is, again, if you want to do that, you can do that as well. There's just too many things to do almost. Back to the Westin, at the rooftop, we had some food, people had drinks and stuff like that up there, and it's early. The thing about this town specifically is that it's ASU campus. There's kids, these college kids come out of the woodwork around like 11 p.m. So we went there at like 8, and it was pretty dead. And then, we did our thing there, and then we went over to, did we go directly to that other place?
Yeah, to Fat Tuesday.
Fat Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was an experience. Everyone had Mark Westgard bought everyone like slushy alcoholic beverages like this big, and these long, like I don't know, what do they even call those? Like hurricanes, I think is what they call them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't know what to say. It's just you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we can't skip past the security process at Fat Tuesday.
Yes, we can.
What was that?
I have no idea. I was wearing these shorts, and I know this is like an athletic short situation, but they're like, yeah, just say it's 9:45. We're getting in there. And we have a couple Germans with us. Mark Weisbrod, too many Marks,
Yep.
too many Mark W's too. Mark Weisbrod and Sandra Kurtz, and we're going in here, and if you're German, they don't accept your. That's the first thing. That's the least of our worries. But they don't accept like German ID.
Right.
So you have to bring your passport in order to get in there. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is there's a camera. Like you're going through the TSA pre-check line. There's a camera to actually like look into. And they didn't really acknowledge it for me, but I mean they're literally it's staring at you. So I'm assuming like it's doing something. And then they what's all the other stuff that they're having you do?
Yeah, they had to check your waistband. They'd be like, lift your shirt, spin around.
Yeah. They had, firearms, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
And then the shorts thing that I mentioned is that it's 9:45, and the guy's like, okay, waistband, ID, hokey pokey, whatever the fuck, and then he's like, just so you know, we have a dress code after 10 p.m. You can't wear athletic wear. And I'm like, I'm wearing a regular shirt. I'm not wearing like. I don't even know. I guess gym shorts are. I don't even understand that, because the problem is like when you hear something like that, it's almost like, oh, you're going into a fancy restaurant with whatever. We don't need to get into the details of this place here. Since Remkis kept a PG-13 earlier, we will keep a PG-13 now. But I mean, it's not a place where like you would even like any common sense individual would think that like standard athletic shorts would be the issue. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. I mean, we saw some shit. We'll leave it at that. Okay, and it's not it. So, it's just funny. That's just one of the funny things. But again, those are the types of things that you get when you actually, I don't know, go out with people in an event like this, and it does add to the experience, because these are stories that we're going to be able to continue to tell, and it is something to look forward to if you come to future events, because it all just becomes one big thing: business, tech, personal. Like it's all really fun. So
yeah, you have to be in the room when this stuff happens.
Exactly.
So you have that memory.
Yeah, it's wild. So, but yeah, so that was Fat Tuesdays. That was all that. Yeah, and then we just kind of hung out there. I instigated people to drink those slushy things as fast as possible. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And and then that was Friday night. And I think maybe we kick it over to the VIP day.
Yeah.
Saturday. Today is Sunday, by the way. I don't think I said that at the top of it. We're about to be headed over to the airport in a couple hours. But yesterday, Saturday, it was VIP day. Now, obviously, there was, I want to say, maybe 150-ish attendees and everything at the full event. VIP is for, I think speakers, media, like certain people maybe got like VIP ticket included with their role, but also you could purchase VIP for an additional cost, and that got you either one of two things this year, which may change in the future, but this year it was either you get golf or you go go-karting. Now, you guys are really lucky because you have two people sitting here on this video here, this podcast, that did either, so we can give you the lowdown on both.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the people about the go-karting experience, Christian?
Sure. Yeah, so we showed up in the lobby. They had a bus waiting for us, took us over to the go-karting place. It was indoors. The track was all indoors. They were electric go-karts. I really enjoyed that because no annoying smell, fumes.
Yeah.
Also, you get that zippy throttle, just instant torque. So that was a lot of fun. I did terribly. So the group was split into several heats, and it was all time-based. See, this was my mistake, is I was thinking it was about who crossed the finish line first. I was the last car in the group to go out on the track, so I thought, I'm cooked, it's already over. Like, I already had accepted defeat because I figured there's no way I'm going to pass all these people. I thought it was like roll the dice, and if you're in the back, you're just kind of unlucky. It's going to be harder to win. Turns out it's based on two things. I think ultimately it's like the total time that you spend, but then there's like a sub-metric of your fastest laps or like lap time. And I just didn't try, but I did have a blast recording. I really wanted to use a suction cup mount on the go-kart, but for whatever reason, it wouldn't stick. I think because the go-kart was a plastic body, I think those suction cup mounts only work with glass or metal, because I've mounted it on cars before and it's been perfect. But Plan B, thankfully, I was wearing a chest harness mount. So that was like my plan B. If the suction cup didn't work, I was able to quickly switch to that mount. But it was cool perspective. You could see like my hands and the steering wheel and all that. In my heat, Adam Weeks won. That was hilarious. I don't know why. Just like shout out to Adam. He's like the last person I would expect to smoke everybody. He passed me 3 times. He almost hit me one time because there's these parts of the track that are super wide, lots of room for passing, but then it'll just go right into a tight turn and it narrows.
Yeah.
So you've got to just hit the gas or throttle, I guess, because they're electric. And you got to full send commit. It's really a game of chicken.
Yeah.
It's like you got to just go for it, and someone has to back off, because if 2 cars are side by side as that narrowing happens, you're gonna have a collision.
Yeah.
Remkes even he spun out. I didn't see what happened, but I'm told there was like a minor collision. He spun out, got nauseous because he had vertigo.
Yeah.
So Remkes was the only person I passed. I got so excited, like, yes, I did it. He's super competitive, so I'm like, I passed Remkes, and then I find out later he was like not doing well, super nauseous. So like, I didn't really earn that. It was kind of given to me, but had a great time with the go-karts. We had food too. They had a whole buffet prepared for us, and I wasn't clear on that. They didn't really communicate that, so that was a welcome bonus. We had a chicken and beef fajitas and chips, salsa, Caesar salad. So nice buffet. Also, this place had other activities you could do a la carte at your own expense. One of them was axe throwing. So several people in our group decided to do that. The place was pretty chill. They let me just like try axe throwing without officially scoring it for free. So that was cool. I tried a couple throws. Surprisingly easier than I expected. I do still think I would have done poorly if it was being scored, because I'm just not athletic at all. Terrible hand-eye coordination. But I managed to at least land the axe on the board a couple times.
Sweet.
So it was fun. Kind of like choose your own adventure. After the one go-kart race, you could pay for an additional race if you wanted to. You could do axe throwing. You could just sit down, hang out, enjoy the buffet. We also got these wristbands for unlimited soft drinks. So overall, great time. But I want to hear about your experience golfing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see your footage too, the POV footage. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Make sure you're subscribed too. If I think this is going on my channel, make sure you're subscribed. I'll put a link to Christian's channel in the description wherever you're watching this. Yeah, golf was definitely interesting. We were excited, and it was a great time. I think there was only, I don't know how many you had. I want to say you probably had maybe like 30 at least, maybe 40 people total.
Yeah, probably.
I think the spread was more towards go-karting. There was only about maybe 15 people that golfed. We went to Shalimar Golf Club, which is actually closing down forever in a couple days. So that was fun. I found out about that this week, so that was kind of interesting. All in all, it was a 9-hole golf course. There's so many places to golf in Tempe, so obviously it's not going to be a problem if we come back here next year. I'm sure there'll be another course or something else, similar. But overall, I mean, a nice course. I'm being a little generous there, but it is also closing, just due to other extenuating circumstances or whatever. But we got there and we got here and we took 2 Uber XLs, big like Suburbans and everything like that, very nice cars. Went out maybe like a 10-minute drive to the golf course. None of us have clubs. Like, that's kind of an issue when you travel. And if you're not a golfer, I mean, I have clubs and I'm not going to bring them just for one round anyway. Luckily, shout out Derek Ashauer, avid golfer, golfs multiple times when we come on these types of trips. So he had his clubs. Kevin Geary, and I, and also Sonny T. Trachaniak, I think. I might have messed that up, but Sonny T, you know who he is. We were in a group, and then there was maybe like 5 other groups. So it's typically, if you're not familiar with golf, it's 2 to a cart, but 4 to a group. So like you'll have 2 carts on the tee, you'll all 4 tee off, and then you'll just go there, and then the next group kind of comes and does their thing. 9-hole golf course. I think we teed off around 10:30. There was a range, actually. We were hitting some balls over there on the range. They didn't really have, and again, I'm giving them some grace here because they are closing. They didn't really have a lot of rental clubs. There was only like 3 sets. So everyone did have them, you know, the other groups and everything like that, but we all used Derek's clubs. So that was nice. And we started that round out. I was actually, you know, my part of my duties kind of, you know, in tandem here was Christian was covering the go-karts with we both rented, right? Like DJI action cams. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to do this. Now, it's funny that you had a suction cup issue.
Yeah.
Because I also had a suction cup issue.
Yeah.
Typically on a golf cart, you have a pane of glass on these 2 rails like in front of you. So if it's raining, you could flip it up and you could flip it down or whatever, but you have some level of glass there. There was no glass on these golf carts. Like, it's not glass, it's plastic, but there was nothing there. I thought like you could stick it there and, you know, just kind of get the, you know, the cart view or like the out, you know, like a shot view, a course view or whatever. Couldn't do that. I was trying some other things. Good thing Christian lent me a couple of like different mounts, and then I had this clip thing I was playing around with. Ultimately, what I actually decided on, and I'm interested to see that, I haven't even looked at this footage, so we're all going to learn this together. I put a head mount on over my hat, and I strapped the camera to that. So I was like walking around the golf course most of the time with a camera on my head, which is kind of funny. And I'm hoping it was half decent, but we shall see whenever I put some of that footage together and share it with you guys. But that was a really good time. We, none of us are fantastic at golf. Derek is easily the best out of our group there, and it was a good time. We were hitting them, and can't really complain when you're out there on the golf course in Arizona. I will say it gets hot.
Yeah.
I didn't get like a sunburn, but I definitely got a good sun tan on my arms. And the other real quick thing about this, just specifically golf in Arizona, is there's like no grass. I mean, it's the desert. There's so much like rock and like dirt in a lot of places. So it is a very different experience. And this is obviously my first time being here and doing that. So that was kind of fun. Other than that, after we were done golfing, the whole crew, kind of included, we went over to, I think it's called Four Peaks Brewing, just like a local brewery type restaurant. And we were sitting outside on some like picnic tables, and there was like a walk-up thing where you could go order everything. So that was all included, and we could, I had some like pizza and some like quesadillas, and everybody got their own dishes. So that was really awesome. Really good conversation, again, with just everyone there. Hung out there for a couple hours maybe, and then back to the hotel. And I think we met up, and then I think there was a little bit of an intermediate period in there. I think pool. Beautiful pool, by the way. We didn't really get to the pool.
Nice.
We kind of glossed over that. Actually, on Friday night, there was, instead of being in the courtyard, the mixer was up at the pool. A lot of really good stuff there. 2 hot tubs, like flanking the actual salt water. All salt water, by the way. Kind of interesting. So yesterday we hung out at the pool a little bit, in the hot tub with some other PressConf folks. And then we went to, a couple of us, myself, Christian, Sonny, Kevin, Brian Cords, and Dana, Brian Cords' wife, went to a place called Cafe Boa, and I ate a whole ass chicken because I didn't realize it was going to be like a whole ass chicken.
Was it 1 or 2? Because
I don't even know. I think
it said 2 chickens.
It said 2 crispy chicken something, and I thought it was going to be maybe like a chicken parmesan type thing. It was good, but you had to physically work for this meat. Like the chicken meat, which is.
It's a challenge for you.
It is. I'm more used to just no bones and breast, chicken breast. But it was very good. Some good potatoes and stuff. You had rabbit.
I did.
How was that?
It was good. Honestly, it tasted like chicken.
Yeah.
Maybe it was chicken and they were just scamming me. I don't know. I mean, it was good though.
Yeah.
I would get it again.
Yeah, definitely a good place there. And then that was Cafe Boa. And did we do anything after that? Oh, we got crispy cone.
Yeah.
Which was like it's kind of like a churro-ish type thing, and then the ice cream on top. You don't have to get that. I think you just had the churro piece, I think, right?
Yeah,
but
just the cone.
Pretty decent. And did we do anything else?
Just came back and talked until, like 11, 12?
Yeah, over in that bar area. That's what we were talking about with Remkiss earlier, just like good conversation. And then that's always the kind of the tough part of the event is saying goodbye to people. I know there's like probably people in the lobby behind us now that are heading out. You know, occasionally, this is a skill right here. When you're meeting with a lot of different people on the last final nights, you got to like be like, oh, am I going to see you again? You know, am I going to see you tomorrow when I wake up? You know, because our flights are a little later. Some people were out of here at like 7 a.m. Right? Mm-hmm. So just one of the quirks of in-person stuff.
Yeah, and then trying to work out when's the next time I will see you. Like,
exactly.
Are you going to get this event, this event, this event? And
yeah, because there's a lot coming up. There's WordCamp EU coming up. You know, WordCamp US is supposed to happen again in Portland. We're going to be talking more and probably going to have another one of these. Probably our next one of these will be WordCamp US. Then potentially CloudFest US. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. Christian travels even more than I do, and I feel like I'm doing borderline too much now. It's just so many. It's just such a vast, just a quick amount of just traveling now that I've been doing. But yeah, so all in all, though, PressConf. What would you kind of like, just like the high level? I mean, would you come back? Do you recommend people come back? What is any advice and thoughts that you have if they are interested in 2026?
Yeah, I would absolutely come back. I would say PressConf is for people who really want to further their business. It's great for the community aspect. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed all the conversations we had, especially because I already know a lot of these people from WordCamps. But I would say, you know, if you're just looking for a good time, go to a WordCamp. Or if you want to, say, chat technical details, you know, how do I do this with WordPress? Go to a WordCamp. But if you want to further your business, you want to grow with this industry, or you want to contribute to the conversation of what's happening and be like, hey, high-level people at Automatic, what about this idea? PressConf is for you. I had less meetings here than any other event, and I'm okay with that because I'm walking away inspired from the talks, like, oh, I want to implement this, this, and this in my business. So I wouldn't look at this as an event to acquire clients, acquire customers, or, you know, just hang out. I would say come here expecting to be educated and have actionable takeaways to apply when you get home.
Yeah, definitely a good synopsis there. I would say as well, I mean, I would recommend it highly. I would definitely come back. I think that for me, the way that I picture events like this, or try to like think about, you know, I had some assumptions I said earlier about what the event was going to be like, what you should think about and all that sort of stuff. But now I can actually give tangible advice because I've been here. You have to be ready and willing to be vulnerable in a way, but you have to be like ready and willing to actually, like Christian said, want to move your business forward. You have to, as Remkis was talking earlier, I was thinking about this and I'll bring it up again. You have to show up, but you also have to be a little bit in the right mindset, in my opinion. You have to actually, you don't have to be an extrovert, but you have to realize that that's the only, like talking to people or just having those types of interactions are going to be the thing that's the most valuable for you. The talks are fantastic. You will leave inspired because I have already thought about, I've got a laundry list of different things and just like ways to think about the work that I'm doing and, you know, potentially, you know, different products or services to offer and just things like that, just different ways to spin things, sell things, whatever. But at the same time, like you will build these relationships if you show up and if you are willing enough to actually be vulnerable with people, be a real person, and not just be, what I don't think you should do is I don't think you should come here and just be like buttoned up business necessarily. If that's what you want to do, okay. But I can tell you that that will come if you also want to actually interact with the people in your industry. Like, don't come to PressConf if you're just like a fly-by-night like person just trying to like swoop on in and get whatever. Like, you might get some leads or you might get some collaboration or something like that. But ultimately, you have to want to be, its own little business community, I feel like, is the vibe that I got here. It is WordPress, but it's not all about WordPress and like the project necessarily. It's that's a tool that we use, and the people here want to provide value for other people. They want to do that through their business, through their products that they're selling. And everyone is just very like-minded in that way. And what that ultimately ends up in is that you get both ends of it. You get the business end and that business connection, and you also get that personal connection because everybody understands what we're all going through, the adversity, as Remkes mentioned in his talk. You all have that, and that is the thing that really has set this apart for me, because it doesn't just feel like a bunch of people walking around from talk to talk. It feels like every time you sit down, every conversation, every connection you make, everyone is just very in tune with what other people are going through. And that's the really big thing. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, then this is at least one of the events that I think you should be at, because I don't see that going away. Raquel and the team did a fantastic job at building that vibe, and it's only going to continue to get better. This was an incredible first event back, so to speak, and it was their first one that they put on. It was a great reboot, and I think now what's going to happen is in the coming years, it's going to continue to get better. It's also going to continue to get its own identity, because the more and more PressConf evolves, the less like it was born from Pressnomics, but it's going to be its own thing. And I'm really excited for the future of this event, and just really, I think the WordPress community needs it. And I think that it's, I'm just super happy that I was here. I mean, I can't really summarize it any better than that. It's been a great week, and yeah, looking forward to the next one for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. That was pretty thorough.
Yeah, I think we've been
going for a while.
That's awesome. So, yeah, I mean, just to wrap up, again, I think it was fantastic. Super happy that we got the opportunity to be media partners, speakers, like all that sort of stuff. And I think that, if you guys are interested, maybe a call to action to you guys, if you're interested in any of that, pressconf.events is where you can go to check out more. Obviously, that'll be for this year, but as time goes on, moving into next year, you can see more of that. Also, again, I think this is one of the events that we really need. We probably should do this with all the events. But the other thing is, we're making this after we came, to the event, right? So in your position, as the viewer, it's like, oh shucks, maybe I got some regret. Don't be regretful. Just realize this. But what we're gonna try to do, I think we need to make a conscious effort of this, Christian and I, is as PressConf or as whatever event is coming up next time, we need to kind of remind you guys, so to speak, now that we have the experience of hey, this is what happened last year. It was great. Now you have the opportunity to buy a ticket and come. And that's the thing that we physically could not have done necessarily too much to this point, because we didn't have those experiences. But moving forward, just look out for that type of content. So again, subscribe here if you want. Make sure you subscribe to Christian's channel, link and everything down below. And yeah, more great stuff to come. Is there anything other call to actions that you anywhere to send for you?
Yeah, I mean, you can check out all the content I'm filming at PressConf. I think it'll be linked below. I just launched Crailer Made More, my second channel, for all the more kind of raw, less scripted content that doesn't fit on Crailer Made, which is my main channel. So check out both linked below, and please be here in 2026.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. 100%. Christian, thank you for sitting down with me. Thank you for a great week here. Super excited for the next time we get to attend an event and do one of these. Thank you guys for watching. We greatly appreciate it. And we will talk to you whenever the next time we go to an event is, and we can sit down and have one of these.
Yeah, probably in Portland.
Yep. We'll see what happens. All right. Talk to you. See you later.